Hey guys, PetZergling here, joined by Daz, bringing you the second game of the second half of the MSL semifinals. This is JangBi vs Stork, and I think you guys should grab some popcorn, sit down, get ready for an awesome game, because Stork definitely had some fight in him. We saw kind of an interesting play, but a strong play nonetheless for JangBi, and I think Stork is really going to be ready for some revenge. In Destination, it seems like a really macro-favored Protoss vs Protoss map. Even though I didn't usually watch a lot of PvP, I've actually been watching a lot more games recently, and it just seems very difficult for a Protoss to attack another Protoss just because of the way the bridges and the map is set up. So oftentimes, we see a real long, drawn-out macro game. We've seen lots of really good games from Bisu. We've seen games where Best gets trashed. A few games from JangBi and Stork, mostly in the Winners League. So I'm really looking forward to a nice game between these two, and I don't really know. I don't want to really say this map really favors either of these players because both of them are just such a high level. I'm going to sync this up in 1-0. And the way that JangBi played in the first game, kind of a really fast, almost risky expansion, I think is more suited for this map than it is for Byzantium. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar opening from JangBi, but at the same time I think Stork might really expect it. But I think an early Nexus, even though it still isn't as viable, it still is pretty easy to defend on this map as long as you can get a few goons out.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't see a build like last game because last game's build was a risky expansion. It's not risky on this map. Do you know what I mean? On this map, that's a standard play to take your expansion that early. However, 12 nexing, you see, the thing is, up until you get to the point where there's like 5 or 6 or more dragoons, the bridges don't make a difference. If there's only like 4 dragoons, the bridges don't make a big difference. So 12 nexing is not really, it doesn't make it any easier to 12 nex on this map. It's still not really viable, but you could definitely like 2-gate expand. I mean, that's an option that you have on this map easily. 2-gate expand, or 2-gate robo and expand really quickly, or I mean even 1-gate robo expand are all viable on this map because of the bridges. So that's one of the differences. As far as if this map is going to favor anyone, I like Stork more on maps like this. Stork has just got more of a I don't even know what these people are laughing at. Stork's, I like Stork's prepared builds, especially his unique builds on maps like this. I really like them, and the last really great PvP series we saw with Stork was Stork versus Best in the OSL that Stork won. Stork had a lot of awesome builds, especially for maps like this, for more creative style maps. So it looks like he's opening pretty standard so far, but who the hell knows? And what a weird sign that is. I really wish we had a Korean translator or something just to tell us what those signs were, but I guess it's fucking completely irrelevant now. Neither player going for a proxy or anything, so they're both opening up pretty standard. Doesn't really surprise me. Core going down. So we're seeing core before second pylon for Stork, so is it just me or is that, oh sorry, that's JangBi, yeah, JangBi is yellow, and Stork is green. So we're seeing core before second pylon, and is it just me or Stork's gas a little late? Yeah, okay, he went second pylon, his gas is a little bit behind and he's not going to have a core. So Stork's going to go Z-Lot first, and JangBi will either have to have cut a probe or his Z-Lot will be really late. It looks like his Z-Lot's going to be really late, so Stork might actually be able to do some harassment. No, Stork's not even going to go for the harass right away, so it doesn't really make any difference. JangBi's actually going to be slightly ahead in Dragoon because he went for core so much quicker. He's going to have his first Dragoon out, and he's going to be able to start pumping Dragoons much sooner. But Stork might have just a slight economic lead. It doesn't really make a big difference at this
and the
point.
Zealot first no-cut probe opening is just almost Stork style. It's real safe, it's real versatile. When you get that early Zealot out but you don't cut probe, sure you're a little bit behind against a build like JangBi's, but you're a lot safer. We've seen players, although not as common, people still do proxies on this map because it's a 2-player map with lots of buildable areas. So Stork's build is real safe against that. And also, just in case he needs to go for some sort of early aggression, he's going to have that early Zealot, which makes, even though only a few Dragoons won't make a big difference, Oh yeah, did Stork lose that probe in JangBi's base?
Yeah,
that's real
probe is
bad.
dead.
You need to keep. Well, that's a disadvantage, I guess, of not going for the 2 zealots before Dragoon. Is that JangBi's gonna have that probe alive just a little bit longer, doing a nice job of using that mineral line.
Quite a bit longer.
Yeah, so he's keeping that probe alive and actually running it into the zealots just as I say that. But now once again, this is really the pivotal point in PvP. Both players in the dark, and what is Stork doing? He's got that probe
Stork.
right there. It looks like he might proxy a RoboBay maybe? I don't know what else
Why proxy
doing with
now?
it.
I mean, he already cleared the probe out. I mean, you could just build it in your base.
Maybe
for
at the same
travel
time,
distance?
though, he could be keeping it because he may get fear getting contained here. And Stork blocking his ramp with the 2 zealots. JangBi without any zealots, but he's able to micro a little bit. That's the advantage of having those Dragoons, is when it transitions into the mid game, you're able to threaten the bridges a little bit more. JangBi putting his Nexus down, and Stork, it looks like he wanted to put his down, but he's got a probe there. So I think JangBi, you can just tell, because of JangBi's tech and the way he built his build, his Nexus is slightly ahead, and now Stork getting that probe in there, so I guess he just wanted to get that for a scout. So it looks like JangBi has a slight economic advantage, while Stork has a slight scouting advantage.
Yeah. Although the scouting advantage isn't really going to amount to much because both players are taking their natural, and there's really not a lot either player is going to be able to do to the other one. Except for
well, you have to
fact
keep
that
in mind
JangBi's
too,
putting on a
because
robot.
if JangBi doesn't know what
not.
Stork's doing, he could still fear some sort of Dark Templar. Well, Stork has that probe in his
That's
base,
true.
so he knows he doesn't have to invest anything. And I know he wouldn't make cannons, but he wouldn't have to worry about getting an observatory early. He can go Reaver first, so it's always an advantage to have that scout, even if it isn't. You know, even if JangBi probably assumes Stork isn't going for that expansion, he still has to play safe and get those observers out anyway, you know?
Yeah, but it doesn't really hurt JangBi to get Robo at this point because there's no chance that he's gonna go for any kind of aggression anytime soon. There's no chance that Stork can be aggressive against him, and I mean it's not that he has to cut probes or getting the Robo at this point doesn't really slow him down at all. So that's why I said it doesn't really do much. I mean it's good for Stork because Stork now knows that he's completely safe, and it's always good to know that there's nothing your opponent can do and you can just kind of, you know, keep playing and do whatever you want and you're going to be okay. But it's not going to have a big effect. And looks like JangBi's pretty much just one step ahead of Stork this whole time. He's getting his Citadel up already. He's going to have observers soon. Like everything that JangBi is doing is just about 10 seconds ahead of what Stork is doing. So I mean if things keep going like this, it's really not that great for Stork. Oh, it looks like, yeah, I see, there we go. Stork Citadel is just starting. JangBi's starting his Templar attack. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. It's basically going to come down to who has better control with their first army, their first attack. And I mean, there is going to be a timing window for JangBi to exploit in terms of he's going to have Storm first and he's going to have that timing window advantage, but it's going to be pretty hard for him to find that. And who knows, he might. That's the pro gamer advantage. I mean, that's the kind of thing that JangBi could find out, especially once he gets these observers into Stork's base. If he manages to do that, that's the kind of advantage that he might be able to find for himself. But right now, I'd say that JangBi's a little bit ahead. It's still going to rely heavily on what happened first battle. Especially with this map, it's really hard for other players to be aggressive, and it's really all about unit positioning. Even with a smaller army, with better army positioning, you can really turn the tide. So at this point, we just kind of have to wait and see what happens when these two players engage each other for the first time. And also we have to see who's going to go for the first third base. Not only is it really easy to defend your natural on this map, but if you can take the expansion with the bridge, it's really easy to defend that as well. All it takes is a few cannons and it becomes incredibly not cost effective to attack that. It's almost as bad as taking an expansion with a ramp on any other normal map. So I mean, that's just another factor to look out for that makes this map favored to people who expand first and favored to the map for game. What the hell is this? Are they both building pylons right beside each other?
Yeah, that's one thing you see a lot in late game
random.
PvP, and that's really funny how both of those probes kind of built that pylon there, and it looks like Stork's going to move out some Dragoons and clear that pylon out, so a little bit of a misstep from JangBi there. He's going to lose the probe and the pylon, although I can't really see how he could have expected that. And yeah, that's a good thing to know, and that's one thing a lot of people would say, is you can look, any, idiot Ranchin DA can look and see, oh, JangBi's Templar archives and gateways are ahead, that means he's winning. But in reality, the things you said, army positioning, engagement, control, those are way more important than these minor advantages. And as it transitions into the mid-game, because sure, JangBi was ahead for slight things, but because there was no real definite battle and no real attack, there was really no advantage, and it's all going to get kind of ironed out, and it's back on a level playing field. And JangBi's moving out now with the shuttle, so he's going to try and do some harassment, but Stork has a fair amount of units, already getting those Templar out, so he's going to have a nice storm, and a DT out for Stork. Interesting choice here. He may be able to do some harassment, but he doesn't have a shuttle. Nice pylon there. Spots the
I wonder
shuttle.
what's in these
DT out for JangBi.
DT.
And